Jackson Radio Show.
Chuck Todd did a tweet and he says, I'm a bit hokey when it comes to Good Friday. I don't mean disrespect to the religious aspect of the day, but I love the idea of reminding folks that any day can become good. All it takes is a little selflessness on our own part. Works every time. Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. See, that is the flippant response to the most holy holiday for Christians by Chuck Todd, MSNBC's Chuck Todd. He doesn't mean any disrespect to the religious aspect of Good Friday, but I don't even know any of the religious aspects of Good Friday. That's essentially what Chuck Todd is saying. I don't even have enough respect for your religion I'm going to go find out what Good Friday means. I'm a bit hokey when it comes to Good Friday. No, Chuck, you're a bit hokey when it comes to life in general. Any day can be Good Friday. Hey, so what? Christ is risen on Sunday, all of the religious aspects of this as it pertains to the Christianity. Do you think Chuck Todd would say anything close to that on anything related to Muslims, or dare he lose his head? It's amazing to me how flippant leftists have treat Christianity like we're just a bunch of, who cares? They take us for granted. Who cares? They're just a bunch of sanctimonious Christians out there trying to do good in the world. Chuck Todd has more respect for Kwanzaa than he does for Easter. I promise you he does. He has more respect for Kwanzaa than he does for Christmas. Because that's the way they're trained. And see, how dare Chuck decide to actually do his journalistic duty and understand what the aspects of, I don't care if you practice it, understand it. It would be like, if I'm going to talk about the Quran, I'm going to at least go research what it's about. I rarely talk about Muslims other than the fact that they tend to blow up a lot of things. But if I'm going to have a deep discussion about it from a religious perspective, I'm going to go out and find out what the deal is. I do understand that it was written based on the length that the way the Quran is laid out. It's based on the length of the books and not chronologically. I learned that from friends, and that Muhammad begins really altruistic and philanthropic and wanting to do good. And by the end of the Quran, he is a bad dude. Unlike Saul of Tarsus, who becomes Paul, he does an opposite transformation. Because Saul was a bad guy, a warrior who would as soon kill you as to look at you, who became good when he was struck on his way, I think, to Damascus, right? And so he became a good guy. Muhammad started out good and suddenly, over time became bad. And it's choppy. The Quran is choppy. And I learned this from experts. So my point is this. If I'm going to have a discussion, if they were to say, Kevin, let's discuss Ramadan, I wouldn't say, look, I don't understand the religious aspects of Ramadan, but I think Ramadan's really serious and anybody could just do Ramadan. I wouldn't say that. I don't know enough about Ramadan. Do they have a big turkey meal? I might say something like, I don't know a lot about Ramadan, but they eat turkey and it kind of reminds me of Thanksgiving. No disrespect intended. I think it would be more than just about eating turkey, which, by the way, so is Thanksgiving. These guys are so flippant in how they deal with us. And you know what Chuck Todd needed? He needed a pastor to just come up and slap him right in his mouth. I know y'all are out there. Kevin, man, you are so violent. Man, yeah. You remember when Jesus went into the temple and he turned over all the tables and all this because of what was happening inside of there? The corruption. That Jesus would have slapped Chuck Todd. Y'all think I'm playing, but don't be laughing at me. If Jesus would have slapped Chuck Todd. Kevin, you talking about Jesus would have? Jesus, that wouldn't have been a sin. Well, don't hold up a sin sign to me. Don't even do it. That would not have been a sin. Jesus would have said, "What did you just say, Chuck Todd?" Pow! Don't you ever say something like that. Good Friday. Man, he has no idea. I mean, how disrespect? I don't mean any disrespect, but here's some disrespect. Isn't it funny every time somebody, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but here's some disrespect for you. I like the people that go, I'm not trying to get all in your business, but I'm about to get all in your business. It's always that warning beforehand. Look, I don't want to sound racist, but here's some racial stuff. Oh, man. You know what I love about religious people is we can admit our faults, we can laugh at ourselves, and we recognize the goodness in the world. We really do. We look for goodness in the world. We don't look for problems, and we certainly don't try to create them. When we create problems, you know what we do? Because we will. When I say you don't try to create problems, it doesn't mean that you don't create problems, because the devil is always there. But what you do, Christians, is you correct your problems. You self-correct. You have a button inside of you. It's called a heart. It's called a core. And that button self-corrects. You understand when you've done something wrong and you want to do right. And there's something driving you. And let me tell you that as a person who has these multiple religious conversions, because, my grandmother would say, boy, you backslided. You backslid. What backsliding is? You're religious and then you do something bad. And my grandmother, who's very spiritual, would go, and religious, she would go, boy, you backslide. Or she would say, he backslid, like the pastor. Pastor was messing around with one of the women in church. He backslid. No, he had an affair and, whatever. So that's the way they do it. But you backslide. You do. You lose your religion, but you really don't lose your religion. You move farther away from God, and then you find yourself coming back. But here's what I want to talk about. The Saudi crown prince met with New York rabbis in an interfaith gesture while he was here. I want to tell you that happened because of Donald Trump. People can overlook. That's a small thing to happen in the scheme of things in the world, but it's huge because it would have never happened under Obama. You know it. I know it. Leftists know it. Can you imagine one of the most powerful Muslim nations in the world? The guy who runs that nation now says to the Jewish people, I want to meet with you. And they had an interfaith meeting. Here's another thing that happened over the Easter holiday. The religious, I don't want to call it a holiday because it's a bit too much of a significance, but a Muslim family in full hijab asked if their kids could join an Easter egg hunt of a buddy of mine on Twitter. They're Southern Baptists, that they were doing in the park, and all the kids were running around together having a blast. Pardon the pun. But they were having a good time, okay? Muslim family asked could they join in a Christian celebration. Now, see, I think that's cool. I don't care what they want to practice, if they want to keep their women covered and things like that. That's up to them. That's like the Amish. They have a strange religion. But to want to participate, see, that's God working in our lives, and the media is not going to tell you these things. They don't want you to know that the Saudis reached out to the Jews and this other thing happened. We'll be back next time.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.